All right. So what are some of the main things y'all took away from that video there?
Probably the main thing I took was to make sure you have really good documents. You always make sure that anything you contribute to the business is put on paper and maintained in corporate mail. That's probably, in my opinion, the most important thing with having a business, so you don't need to get sued, you don't lose all your personal assets.
Right, because when running a business, just no matter what you're doing, a service, selling goods, the potential or the chances of having to go through litigation, there's no way you can avoid that, And as he said, documentation is very key because if you don't have anything documented, like he said, you're just going to be in a he said she said battle, and really, that's not going to be very good for either party. So really, like you said, the person who's got the most documents ultimately is going to win the battle. So I think that's a huge point as well. Make sure everything's documented. Anything else stick out to anyone in particular?
Like I pointed out, it's the differences in business throughout the state. So, like one state may have certain policies that favor a sole proprietorship, where other states have policies that favor LLC or partnership.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's another good point of why it's so important to have that team that he talked about. He added one other individual to it. He had a third player, which being the CFP, which is never a bad thing either. A lot of times there's a lot of parallels between a CPA and a CFP, but obviously they're a little more specialized in actual financial planning than an accountant is. But I think that just even highlights the need for having a good attorney and a good accountant to keep up with all those differences from different jurisdictions, from state to state. So I think that's a good point too. Just pointing out that's one of my main things I took away from here is just the team, building the right team. A lot of times, if you have a good team built, then chances are you can go into battle and know that you can win that battle a lot of times. So that's why I think the most important thing for a small business person, even though it's expensive, is having that team in place of your attorney, your accountant, and financial planner, if that's the way you want to go about it, and ultimately the right business structure. Anything else that stuck out to you all?
For me, it was interesting how he said it. We always have to have a position to sell our business. To always have that option.
Right. I liked how he said that too, and I like the way he talked about that when he said if you don't have an exit plan or plan to sell it, really you just have a job. You don't have a business. You have a job, and a very expensive one, and a lot more of a headache that comes along with that job because everything starts with you and ends with you at the end of the day. You absorb all the losses, you take all the gains, whatever it might be. So, yeah, I think it is important, and that's a good thing for entrepreneurs to have in mind too. Is not only starting a business, but maintaining it, but also having ultimately having an exit strategy because it's inevitable. We're all going to age and get older, and as we do, we're not going to want to be as involved with work as we get older. Eventually, we want the trade-off to younger in life, we want to work hard and earn the money, and then as we get older, we want to make that transition and let our money start working for us. So that's just one way we can set that up with planning for retirement, is having that exit strategy to be able to sell the business. That's another important thing that sorry, my throat just got. That's another important thing too, is why it's important to have an entity instead of just being a sole proprietorship, because you can, how he said, you can transfer that ownership a lot easier than just having a sole proprietorship, through the legal system or legalities. So I think that's another reason it's important to actually have a business structure other than just having a sole proprietorship. It's easier to set yourself up for selling or transferring those rights. One thing I thought was interesting about the sole proprietorship is how he said there's really no line between your personal life and your business life. It's just completely it's just what it is. So that can become stressful because you don't have a time to walk away from it. It's just it always following you around.
That would scare me. I don't know if I would do that.
Right. And plus the liability factor, that's what would scare me the most about being a sole proprietor. I mean, think if you worked for 30 years and you paid your mortgage off, your cars are paid for, you're on your way out, and just something just happens. It might be because of, you're doing, it might have been something completely out of your control and you lost everything you worked for. then it would have been worth having a business structure to protect all your hard work and years of service to your business. So really, it's a great insurance policy. And one thing I did want to bring up that he talked about that I didn't mention the other day when we were talking about the corporations, you do have that that veil of protection, but ultimately, if the owners do something, I apologize, that justifies the law coming after them, they can ultimately pierce that corporate veil, but it is very difficult to do so. So, and then I know we were talking about that between the differences with the corporations. It is possible, but it's very hard to prove, fault on them, and it doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. Anything else that stuck out to anybody?
Another thing I took away from it, I thought it was kind of funny when he said that when the two people would form a partnership, he said that they've been friends for 25 years, they're not gonna fight about anything, it's gonna be fine. And then 6-7 years down the road, they don't talk to each other anymore.
Right.
So it's probably really important to be cautious with who you go into business with if you don't want to do it by yourself.
It is. It's very important to do that, and especially with partnerships. You have general partnerships and limited partnerships. One like the general one. He touched on the general one. That's where general everyone's included in management, and you're liable for everyone. All other partners share. So like you said, if one partner just ups and leaves and doesn't do anything, then he still gets half the profits, and it's split 50-50. But in the limited one, then only certain people are managers, and you're only liable for whatever your skin in the game, whatever you've invested. So that just what structure, what type of partnerships is important too, because it can help protect you. You might not have as much say so, but you're more protected. And that too, with the partnership with anything, obviously it's part of the team. Having an attorney, that could save a friendship a lot of times as well. It might not, but it could at least salvage it a little bit to where you could at least be on speaking terms. But I think what did he say? Rockefeller had a quote: "It's better to become friends from a business than it is to be friends going into a business." I believe is something like that is how he said it. It's true. I mean, friendship is friendship and business is business, and a lot of times people try to, blur those or blend them together, and it doesn't always work, I mean, look what happened at Facebook when all those buddies got together, and we seen how that worked out for everybody. And Mark just took the whole pizza and ran with it, so that's a good example there. Anything else, or everyone good on it?
I think that's all I got.
All right. Yeah, that's about all I really took away from it. I thought it was a good video, though. I thought he did a good job on just, touching on the surface of the pros and cons on each one of those business structures. So I just wanted to bring that to light because I think that is very important that every entrepreneur should know is how to protect themselves and how to actually go about starting a business and doing it the right way if that's what they ultimately want to do. So. That's all I have for everyone today. I appreciate your all's time. Obviously, no reflection paper, but it's open game for the exams.